Chapter 1: The Malnutrition Crisis. Have you ever wondered why millions of people around the world are malnourished in an age of abundance? A question that leaves us puzzled and concerned. While the world is plump with food, an alarming number of people still suffer from a lack of proper nutrition. Malnutrition is not just about hunger. It's a complex crisis that intertwines with poverty, lack of education, cultural practices, and even politics. Let's take a moment to understand how these factors play a role. Poverty, for example, creates a cyclical trap. Without adequate funds, families struggle to afford nutritious food, leading to malnutrition. Malnourished individuals, especially children, then grapple with stunted physical and mental development, further impeding their ability to break free from the shackles of poverty. Education, or rather a lack of it, further fuels this crisis. Without knowledge about the importance of balanced diets and the dangers of malnutrition, many continue to consume foods that lack essential nutrients, leading to malnourished states even amidst food abundance. Cultural practices and politics, too, play their part. In some societies, certain nutritious foods may be shunned due to cultural beliefs. Meanwhile, political instability and conflicts can disrupt food supplies, exacerbating the problem. The consequences of malnutrition are devastating. It not only hampers an individual's growth and development, but also weakens their immune system, making them more susceptible to diseases. It's a silent killer that claims the lives of millions of children each year. But this is not just about numbers. Behind every statistic is a human being, a story, a potential that might never be realized. It's a global crisis that affects us all, directly or indirectly. We can't turn a blind eye to this crisis. We must act, and we must act now. But perhaps the traditional methods of combating malnutrition aren't enough. Perhaps we need to think outside the box. That's where dark motivation comes in. An unconventional method that might just be the key to unlocking a solution to this crisis. We need a radical shift in our approach to combat this crisis. Let's dare to explore the unconventional method of dark motivation. Chapter 2: Understanding Dark Motivation. What if we told you that our darkest motivations could be our strongest ally in the fight against malnutrition? Yes, you heard it right. We're diving into the concept of dark motivation today. So, what is dark motivation? It's the fuel that sparks from our most challenging, often painful experiences. It's the drive that comes from our struggles, our failures, our darkest hours. And while it might sound grim, dark motivation can be an incredibly powerful tool in the fight against malnutrition. Let's break it down a bit further. We all have moments of hardship in our lives. These experiences can be emotionally taxing, leaving us feeling defeated and overwhelmed. But what if, instead of letting these experiences break us, we use them as motivation? What if we channel that pain, that struggle, into something positive, something impactful? That's where dark motivation comes into play. It's about taking those personal trials and tribulations and using them to fuel our fight against malnutrition. It's about turning our pain into purpose, our struggles into strength. Imagine a world where each person's darkest experiences are transformed into a force for combating malnutrition, where every individual, fueled by their dark motivation, contributes to the fight against hunger. This is not a pipe dream. It's a possibility, and it starts with understanding and harnessing our dark motivation. We're not saying it's easy. It requires courage, resilience, and determination. It requires facing our darkest moments head-on and using them as a catalyst for change. But the result? A world where malnutrition is a thing of the past, and where every individual has the opportunity to thrive. So remember, dark motivation is not about wallowing in despair, but about transforming it into a force for positive change. It's about taking our darkest moments and using them as a springboard for action. It's about turning our pain into power, our struggles into solutions, and our failures into fuel for the fight against malnutrition. Chapter 3. Experts Weigh In. To get a better grasp of this concept, we spoke with leading experts in the fields of nutrition and humanitarian work. Let's dive in. Dr. Jane Goodwin, a renowned nutritionist, explains dark motivation as a kind of emotional fuel. She says it's about turning personal pain or adversity into a powerful driving force. In the context of malnutrition, it could be a personal experience with hunger, or witnessing the suffering of others that propels one to take action. Next, we have humanitarian worker Mark Sullivan, who emphasizes the role of education. He tells us understanding the scale and impact of malnutrition can be a potent, dark motivation. When people truly grasp the devastating effects of hunger, particularly on children and families, they often feel compelled to do something about it. Community involvement is another crucial aspect of this equation. As social worker Lisa Chen points out, dark motivation can inspire community action. When people see the direct impact their efforts can make, it creates a ripple effect. One person's dark motivation can motivate an entire community. Renowned psychologist Dr. Richard Benson sheds light on the psychological side of dark motivation. He says, dark motivation has the power to transform negative experiences into proactive behavior. It's about using our deepest, sometimes painful, emotions as a catalyst for positive change. Finally, we hear from Dr. Sarah Adams, a global health expert. She highlights, dark motivation isn't just about individual action. It's about systemic change too. It can drive policy changes, funding priorities, and global initiatives. It's a tool that can help us combat malnutrition on a global scale. These insights underline the potential of dark motivation, not only as a personal driving force, but as a tool for collective action. It's about turning adversity into action, pain into power, and despair into hope. Harnessing our deepest drives can indeed make a real difference in the fight against malnutrition. As our experts have pointed out, it's about harnessing our deepest drives to make a real difference. Chapter 4. Stories of Dark Motivation. But what does dark motivation look like in action? Let's hear some real-life stories. Enter Maria. Once a victim of malnutrition herself, she harnessed the power of dark motivation to transform her life. She saw her hunger not as a curse, but as a catalyst for change. She educated herself about nutrition, learning how to make the most of the limited resources she had. And she didn't stop there. Maria used her newfound knowledge to feed her community, turning her personal pain into a shared triumph over malnutrition. Next, we have John. Haunted by the memory of his younger sister's battle with malnutrition, John turned his grief into a force for good. He founded a non-profit organization that educates families about the importance of balanced nutrition. His sister's struggle became the driving force behind his mission to ensure no child suffers the way she did. Then there's Lena. Growing up in a community plagued by malnutrition, Lena felt the weight of this crisis. She studied to become a dietitian, driven by her dark motivation to alleviate the suffering in her community. Today, Lena provides free nutritional counseling and organizes food drives, making a tangible difference in her community. And let's not forget Sam. A successful businessman, Sam had everything he wanted, except one thing: peace. He was haunted by his childhood memories of hunger and poverty. This dark motivation spurred him into action. He now dedicates a significant portion of his wealth to fund malnutrition eradication initiatives, turning his past into a beacon of hope for others. These are just a few examples of dark motivation at work, a testament to the power of turning adversity into action. Each of these individuals used their personal experiences with malnutrition as a springboard for change. They turned their pain into purpose, their struggles into solutions, and their experiences into empathy. These stories show us that transformation is possible, even in the face of adversity. Chapter 5. A Call to Action. Now that we've seen the potential of dark motivation, how can we harness it to combat malnutrition? Dark motivation, the force that propels us into action during challenging times, is a powerful tool. It can be a beacon of hope, a catalyst for change, and a call to arms against the global crisis of malnutrition. Imagine the power of a world united by dark motivation, a world where every individual is driven to make a difference. You see, malnutrition isn't just a problem for the countries it affects most. It's a problem for all of us. When one of us suffers, we all suffer. And when we all work towards a solution, we all benefit. But how can we channel our dark motivation into tangible actions? The first step is education. Understanding the depth and breadth of the malnutrition crisis is key. This is not just about lack of food. It's about access to nutritious food, education on healthy eating habits, and the socio-economic factors that contribute to this issue. Next, we can support reputable organizations and initiatives that are tirelessly working on the ground to combat malnutrition. These organizations provide essential resources such as food, education, and healthcare services to those in need. They're the soldiers on the front lines of this battle, and they need our backing. Moreover, we can volunteer our time. Whether it's at a local food bank, a community garden, or even using our platforms to raise awareness, every effort counts. Remember, dark motivation isn't about grand gestures. It's about the small, consistent steps we take towards making a difference. Lastly, we can use our voices. Speak up about the malnutrition crisis. Share the stories of those affected. Encourage others to tap into their dark motivation. The more people are aware of the issue, the more we can do to address it. Remember, every one of us has the power to make a difference. Let your dark motivation guide you on this life-changing journey. This isn't just about combating malnutrition. It's about creating a world where everyone has a fair shot at a healthy, fulfilling life. Let your dark motivation be the spark that ignites this change.